Yo, hey guys, it's me, Fusion What Ifs, and yeah, today I'm gonna be doing What If Deku was Sukuna's Descendant. I'm sorry this was come out like yesterday, but sadly enough, I didn't have the time to record the audio for it because I live with like seven other people, that being like my family, obviously. So it's kind of hard to find time to, record a video in a nice quiet place, especially when it's like 20 minutes long. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. My shell sleeve review should be coming out later today, maybe at around like later, no, not just later, like nighttime to like early next morning. And also, what else? I know you guys really enjoyed my What If Deku was Kokushibo's Descendant, which was like 2 years ago now. It's like kind of crazy to think about that. My channel's 4 years old. I never thought I would really get here, but hey, I have a few other what ifs planned. Not gonna put them out yet on the schedule because I'm afraid of not making it up in time. But I do have a lot of crazy stuff planned for you guys, so I hope you guys are gonna enjoy it. That aside, put in comments like some background music I can use because I'm using the same one for my videos for like the last 3 years now. So I'd really appreciate that. And yeah, without further ado, play my intro. Okay, with all that said and done, hope you guys, got a drink, maybe some snacks. It's gonna be a pretty decently long what if, I think, actually. So, anyway, started off, you would have Izuku being born, right? His mom would still be Inko Midoriya, and his dad would still be Hisashi Midoriya. Except in this one, I'm gonna say he's born with just completely black hair, right? And also no freckles. Now, I'm gonna say his dad's around a lot more in this one. Like, his dad's gonna work overseas and like trades and stuff like that, but he's gonna be around a lot more. So he's gonna be a lot more involved in Izuku's life, and that's gonna play a pretty decent part in a later part in the story. But anyways, we would then move on to I guess 4 years from now when Izuku's somewhat conscious, and he'd go to the quirk doctor, and obviously they tell him, oh yeah, he has a quirk and all that, and he would actually have a quirk. It would be a pretty weak quirk. It would be a weak like telekinetic cutting, which would be a combination of Enko's like sort of like telekinesis and Hisashi, who in this one I actually gave a severing quirk. Like he can like touch things and you can like sort of like cut them apart. But like the bigger the cut or bigger object he wants to like cut, it takes like a lot more energy and stuff like that. So obviously he does that in construction, like woods and all that. Like it's really effective for what he wants to do. But anyways, yeah, that would pretty much be it. He would go home kind of hyped to like train his quirk and all that, and he would be everything would be looking up, right? I'm also gonna say that he has this one heirloom from Hasashi. It's gonna be like this like one like small wooden box, and it's gonna have like a necklace around it. I'm not gonna explain any more than that, but if you guys know what it is, you guys know what it is, right? Anyways, he would go to school the next day, and people are like, "Oh my God, Izuku, you have such a cool quirk too, right?" And for their age, it would be like him and Bakugo would have like the really like cool looking quirks, like all like the kind of like flashy looking stuff. Because like even though Izuku's attacks are invisible because it's telekinetic cutting, um, it would still be pretty cool to just see stuff like just like slash apart, right? It'd get kids hyped. Then we would move up a few years, right? And Izuku's quirk, I'm gonna say, hasn't grown. Like Izuku does like workouts and stuff like that, but like he's still weak. His quirk is weak. And in this one, when he was quirkless, he was like, he really didn't have power, right? When you don't have power and you're already down, it's hard for people to push you down further. But when you have some power, but yeah, you can't be strong, people tend to hit on you even more, right? So in this one, you would actually have a lot worse of a time than in the canon, right? He'll still get bullied for having a weak quirk, for being a weak person. Like he worked out, but he still wasn't strong for some reason, right? It's almost like something was blocking his growth. And this would just keep on going for the years to come. And eventually he would get, I guess, depressed, honestly. He would still want to be a hero with all his heart, but he wouldn't really know what to do now. Finally, we would have, I guess, there are 4 right now through the years. He has to be, 14? 10-year time skip, obviously. 10-year time skip, and we would now be at I'm going to say the last day of Aldera High, right? Excuse me. So, For this last day, we'd have the teacher walk in holding the papers and saying, "These are career sheets." Then throw up in the air and say, I know you guys all want to become heroes and stuff like that, right?" Everyone start using their quirks, except for two people, that being Izuku and Bakugo, for two different reasons. Izuku would just have like his head down, and then we'd have Bakugo standing up proud saying, "Hey, don't let me when the rest of these guys teach. I'm gonna be number one, okay? These losers would even be lucky to be my sidekicks." And the teacher would be like, "Oh, Bakugo, you're applying for UA, aren't you?" And then everyone was like, "UA, like Bakugo could definitely make it. Like he has a pretty good quirk and like all of that, right?" And then the teacher would obviously snitch on Izuku, being like, "Midoriya, too, you also want to go to UA too, don't you?" Immediately, as soon as he says that, the class goes like dead quiet, and like they don't even like laugh and kind of just give him sort of like scornful looks, because like in their mind, Izuku's on their level. What gives him the right to think that he wants to go to UA? He can even attempt to go to UA. What? They just look at him with like looks of like kind of disgust, and then Izuku just like bow his head even lower, trying not to make any eye contact, until Bakugo would literally throw an explosion at his desk and say, "Hey Deku, you want to go to UA?" And he'd like start like pretty much harassing Deku in class. And obviously the teacher, I'm gonna say quirkus is the word for it, like stronger the quirk, or sorry, people with strong quirks in society get to be looked on a lot more favorably, right? So he let aside for a little bit until saying, "Bakugo, I still gotta start up with class, sit back down," and he'd be like, "Teach." And then like that would pretty much happen. Class would end in like half an hour, I'm gonna say, and then we would have Izuku packing up his stuff, right? In this one, Izuku will be getting, like I said before, pretty openly bullied. So like as he's like grabbing his book bag, someone like kicks it over, says, "Oh, my bad, Izuku," or sorry, "My bad, Midoriya," and he just like walk through, right? And like they all just like shove him a little bit. Like he would be getting like genuinely bullied pretty bad. And then we would eventually have Bakugo, who would see, I'm gonna say from the kick the book bag, it would be Izuku's, hero analysis, right? His hero analysis 13, and he would grab it, say, "Hey, what's this?" He looked through and be like, "Oh, this is your hero analysis book? You want to become a hero?" Sweet, that's a nice dream you got there. He would then explode the book and throw it outside the window and say, "You know what? Maybe if you were stronger. Actually, how about this? Go jump off a roof and hope for a better quirk in your next life." Hearing those words, Izuku really couldn't believe his eyes, right? Because like he's been bullied by Bakugo a bunch of times, but like deep inside, he still thought that they were friends, right? Well, not like friends, but like he still thought that Izuku, he thought that Bakugo would like care for him because they have history. Like their parents are really close friends. They grew up together. They've gone to the same school for God knows how long, right? But he would still do all of this. Izuku couldn't even really say anything. He just grabbed his book bag. Well, he would like walk down. He would still have like the smoldering shoulder, because I'm gonna say Bakugo, grabbed his shoulder to have a few explosions. Like he's burnt there pretty bad too, right? He would walk downstairs. He would see the koi fish obviously eating his notebook, and then afterwards we would have Izuku grabbing it, and he would start thinking, right? He would start spiraling. Eventually we would have Izuku going down that same tunnel he did in canon, being the sludge villain, but with a lot less resistance, right? Almost like he doesn't really want to live anymore. Eventually we would have All Might showing up saying, "Never fear, for I am here," throwing a Detroit smash, splattering the villain everywhere, which would also knock Izuku out, right? After waking up, Izuku would find All Might still there, sort of like slapping his face to wake him up. He would freak out a little bit because he's still an All Might fanboy. And from there we would have the casual interaction. He would get the the autograph, and All Might would go to jump away until Izuku would hold on to All Might's leg, right? As Izuku would hold on to All Might's leg, they would end up on top of a roof, and we would have the still heart-clenching scene of him asking All Might if, even with this weak quirk, can I become a hero? And then we'd have All Might obviously de-transform and explain to Izuku that his injury is from a certain someone. Izuku would guess Toxic Chainsaw Man, whatever that guy's name is called, and All Might just like go with it because he doesn't want to tell him about all for one. But All Might would ask how strong his quirk is, right? And then Izuku would show him, and for telekinetic cutting, his quirk isn't even that strong. Like he used it on like a metal railing there at like full power, and it put like a scratch that could have been done with like a regular butter knife, right? And then All Might would look at him genuinely and be like, "I don't think you become a hero, young Midoriya. Not off a quirk like that. Even if you have been training, I just don't see it. Maybe become like a police officer or something. I know that people like those, usually have weak quirks, but they can still do a lot of good in society." Then he would then like walk off, right? And Izuku, who was like already spiraling, just plummets completely into despair. He would start thinking about whether or not this was what he wanted to do, and like he would then, sorry, it's not weird, it's sort of like weird to like explain, but like growing up, being a hero was everything on Izuku's mind, right? That was what he wanted to do. He grew up looking up to heroes. He lived his whole life around heroes. He didn't have anything else to fall back on. Now that he got told by the greatest hero of all time that he can't be a hero, what can he do? So he would just sort of like stand there, because having like your entire life pretty much torn apart in front of you, he would then remember what Bakugo said about maybe just jumping off, and he would walk slowly towards the railing, getting closer and closer for each step, right? He would then just take off his backpack, take off his shoes, and he would get closer to the railings. It would almost be like hypnotic, right? He just couldn't stop. Then he would look down, and it would be like a good, like, 20-story building. Like, it's a pretty far drop. And I'm gonna say it's like into like a back alley or something like that. But he would look, he would just see, the darkness, and he would think, maybe Bakugo wasn't wrong. And then he would just tip over. Now, I'm gonna say immediately after he does that, a little part of him was like panic and all that, because that's, normal human instinct, because, self-preservation and all that. But a major part of him would be feeling relief, almost like all this weight is off of him, right? And he would fall down and splat, dead. And he would honestly die, but he would actually wake up, I'm gonna say, in this sort of like mind state. Think of like where Itadori is when he first met Sukuna, right? Like it would be like this like blood like water with the massive skeleton there and a bunch of bones. And sitting at the very top of the skeleton would be Ryomen Sukuna, dressed in, his, Heian era fit. Not with, the forearms and whatever. Just like regular, 2-armed, when he was like in like Itadori's body, Sukuna, right? Now, looking at this, Izuku would immediately be surprised, start yelling, "Hey, what's happened?" Actually, sorry, he wouldn't even yell, actually. He would just sort of stare, like, blankly. He wouldn't know what to do. He's already given up on life. This is when Sukuna would actually look at him and say, "This is my descendant?" So, how did you die? Actually, why am I even asking? I saw it for myself. You jumped off a building, all because some random kid told you couldn't be a hero? Who is he to define your life? You should be more selfish. How else are you supposed to honor my legacy? And obviously, we would have that entire sort of like speech, right? He would try to convince Izuku that he should be more selfish. He should live for himself. That living for others isn't what he wants to do. It isn't what he should do, not with a quirk like his. Because I'm going to say that Izuku doesn't actually have a quirk, so on, so right? He would have a curse technique. But the thing is that, like, in this day and age, curse techniques have evolved into quirks, and they don't use, like, curse energy in general. They use, like, emotional energy, which is just, like, any energy, so it's just, like, emotional energy from any spectrums, right? Which is why, like, under, like, dire situations, quirk can, like, evolve and all of that, right? But in this one, Izuku would have a curse technique that needs cursed energy. But because he uses, like, emotional energy or something like that, he would only be able to put out, like, not even 10% of his quirk. That's the reason why he was so weak. Now, obviously, looking at all of that, he would raise his head up, right? He would finally taking a good look at the King of Curses. And he would be surprised. He kind of looked like his father, actually, just, black hair and, deeper red eyes. And he really wouldn't know what to do. And then, just because, it looks like his dad, he'd feel, the intent to really listen to him, right? As he listened to Sukuna talk about being selfish, about living for oneself, about that's the path to enlightenment, he would start thinking, and he would realize that, why should he live for others? Like, he's want to be a hero, but, like, why does he have to live for others? He should be able to do what he wants when he wants to do it. He shouldn't have gotten bullied for having a weak quirk. Is that how society works? Then you realize that all he really needs is strength. Even though he can't really sense it, he can see it. Like Sukuna in front of him, he feels Sukuna's presence. Sukuna is strong. He can guess that probably when Sukuna was his age, he was probably one of the strongest around. He probably didn't listen to anybody. He was probably number one. Now, looking at this, Sukuna would sort of smile at Izuku, right? As he would see Izuku come to this realization, right? He'd be like, you know what, maybe you're not half bad. You know what, I have a binding vow with the world itself, and I'm able to bring back one of my descendants. That's the reason why you're even here, honestly. And it takes a few conditions to meet. Number one, you must be holding the family heirloom, which I'm going to say is the wooden box. And obviously, some of you guys have already guessed it, the wooden box has Sukuna's finger inside of it. So, yeah, Izuku will be collecting a bunch of those. And then, number two, we would also have the fact that he needed to deem the person he's reviving willing. Now, by doing this, he would, bring Izuku back to life. And when he does this, Izuku would obviously wake back up. Izuku wake back up in the hospital, I'm going to say. This time looking fully healed. Because I'm going to say they found him off like a building. And obviously, it doesn't take much to put two and two together. Like, his shoes and backpack are literally on the roof. And he's down on the floor, splat. But the thing is that, he wouldn't be dead. It would be a bunch of blood, but he would be healed. And it wouldn't make any sort of sense, right? Now, as Izuku wakes up, he would be met by a few doctors, ask him how he's doing, what's up, check his, condition. Then we would also have, Inko walking in, obviously. And I'm going to say Hisashi's on his way soon. Because obviously, if you pretty much get told by the doctor that your son, committed, self-offing, he's gonna, show up, even though he is, pretty much a whole continent away. So, they would be there, they would be asking him what's wrong, they would be trying to comfort him. And Izuku, he would just be sort of, dull, right? He would be, blank face. But he would be able to feel things he wasn't able to before, right? He would be able to feel this energy around him. It would feel malicious, evil in a sense, but he didn't deny it. He kind of liked it, honestly. And this is when, after talking to his parents for a little bit, I'm going to say, the doctor would be like, give him, some time, he still needs to recover from, this very traumatic experience. And they would end up just, leaving, right? Izuku would finally get the chance to look himself in the mirror, and he would see that he looks the same, except he would be taller, maybe 2-3 inches taller, going from 5'7" to 5'9", I'm gonna say 5'10", and he would still have his regular black hair, but he would actually end up having, a few streaks of pink. And funnily enough, his regular green eyes would start having specks of red. Now, Izuku could instantly tell that something was different with his body, and he remembers what Sukuna told him inside of the the weird mindscape river, or I guess the afterlife. It was that by choosing to come back, Izuku would give up his humanity. Not all of it, but most of it. He would be this weird human cursed spirit hybrid, sort of I guess Chozo in a way, or the Itadori siblings or something like that, right? And this is when he would realize what he's done, but he doesn't regret it, because that was his choice. He gets the right to be selfish. He gets the right to make his own choices. And immediately, he would first of all test his curse technique that was called Shrine. Because Sukuna did explain to him, his curse technique and all that, and how we would have to progress it. I just didn't really touch upon it, all that. So yeah, he would first test it upon I'm gonna say some random apple, right? He would just use regular old dismantle, and it would instantly cut through the entirety of the apple, the plate, and even the table, right? Just clean in half. And Izuku would have put in no effort in that. He would be confused. He wasn't expecting to get this strong this quick, right? Now, obviously, after all of that, he would have what's I'm gonna say? Yeah, he would get told. Actually, no, that's a little bit. I'm time skipping too far. But I'm gonna say a month later, we would then have Izuku, obviously going back to school, meeting everyone, meeting Bakugo and all that. And to say the least, they couldn't believe that was Izuku, right? Obviously, a few people heard about Izuku trying to take his life, but they didn't really care because it was just weak old Izuku. What does his life matter to us, right? But when he came back to school, everyone would feel his presence, right? That's just the pure curse energy that's releasing from him. And they would all be scared shitless, to be put it simply. They just can't stand his presence. And then Bakugo, realizing that he was scared too, would also try to fight Izuku. Izuku wouldn't even really look at him. He would just glance his way and then instantly dismantles. Well, he doesn't kill Bakugo, obviously, right? But he would chop off some of Bakugo's hair, and then he would put a slash on the roof. And he was like, Bakugo, don't mess with me next time, okay? I'm done playing your games. And immediately go back to reading his book or just paying attention to class. This would scare Bakugo shitless, obviously. And then we would have, another month time skip, and we would actually have Izuku's dad, right? Izuku's dad would start talking to Izuku and tell him like, oh yeah, I have this one friend over in Japan, and he has a daughter, and his daughter doesn't have anywhere to live, right? Because I'm gonna say that his friend lives in like somewhere else, and that she wants to go to UA, obviously, right? So he says that, oh yeah, she's gonna be living with you guys for a while. Her name's Ochako Uraraka. Take like good care of her and all that. And Izuku would like obviously oblige, right? Because he doesn't hate his dad. He doesn't hate any of his parents, right? Like he actually loves his parents pretty much. Actually, they're the only people who actually cared about him. But he's still pretty selfish, still pretty like Sukuna like in a way, right? Not like nearly enough, but still like sort of Sukuna like. So obviously he would just like nod his head, say okay, dad, and eventually end up meeting Uraraka, right? This is where we're gonna have the I guess 9-month time skip this time, or I guess 8-month time skip. And during these 8 months, Izuku would grow extremely close to Uraraka. To put it simply, Uraraka would be like sort of like keeping him down in a way, because like obviously he still loves his parents and all that, but he still jumped off the building. But Uraraka, it's kind of different. He feels like he has to be there for her, right? Because this person that he's hardly known has shown him a tremendous amount of kindness throughout like these past few months. And this is without him even like showing his quirk, obviously, right? So he would realize that he would like Uraraka to be safe, so he ended up applying for UA2 actually, which I'm gonna say he retracted his UA whatever a while ago after he came back from the dead, but then put it back in because obviously he wants to go to UA with Ochaka. Anyways, after that we would now have we would now have the end of the 8-month time skip, obviously. I'm going to say that Izuku found 4 more fingers and he ate them, so he'd be like, 5-finger Sukuna level. Now, obviously, it's going to be a little bit nerfed, I'm going to say, for reasons being that his curse energy is not fully curse energy yet. Like, I mentioned earlier in this video how everyone here uses, like, emotional energy and how, like, each quirk uses a different emotion. I'm going to say that, because of his constitution, or, like, his fudge, his, like, body and stuff like that, right? He wasn't able to fully convert his emotional energy to curse energy just yet. And it increases with the amount of fingers he takes, right? So right now it's like, it's like, what's it called? It's like, what, he ate 5 fingers? Oh, holy, what is that? It's like 25% curse energy and like 75% emotional energy, right? So that would be like the balance right now. Now obviously he can use some energy from the emotional part of it, but the curse energy part of it is so much stronger, right? Also, I'm gonna say that he has also, unlocked cleave, obviously, because why not? It's literally right there, cleave. And yeah, moving on, we'd finally have the UA entrance exam. They would walk up. Izuku obviously wouldn't trip, but in this one, he'd be walking right beside Uraraka, right? They would go in, do their test. Izuku would do pretty good. He's not dumb. He's pretty smart, and that would be done. He would then go to the practical part of it, sit down, right beside Bakugo. And now Bakugo wants to speak up, but he looks at Izuku, and Izuku's aura is so much stronger than last time. He can't even really talk to him. He just looks away in like fear and I guess annoyance in a way. Then eventually we would have, Ida standing up, trying to talk to President Mike. President Mike be like, yup, keep quiet, kid. I'm not done explaining, yada, yada, yada. And yeah, we would then move on to the actual practical exam. Izuku wouldn't have the same green tracksuit. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a that was weird, I just burped. I'm gonna say it's gonna be this reddish color actually. No, black. He's gonna have like a black tracksuit this time. Full black. Fit him a lot better obviously because he's a lot more built. He also cleaned up Deku up a beach, I'm gonna say. So he's a lot more stronger in this one too. Now, all that aside, we would officially have the start of the exam. President Mike would then say, go, 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 and everyone would then rush in. Izuku would easily be the fastest there, like easily outpacing Ida and all that. And I'm gonna say this is because of curse energy enhancement and stuff like that, right? Because he wasn't slacking. Like he's been training his curse technique a lot, and it's like the fundamentals of just cursed energy. And with all of that, he would also have some memories from Sukuna, because each time he eats a finger, he's gonna gain a certain memory of Sukuna of doing like a certain thing. I'm gonna say at like finger 3 he gained cleave, and like finger 5 it just like upped his curse energy manipulation, right? Now, obviously, we would then move on, and Izuku would just be dismantling and cleaving robots with at absolute ease. Actually, not even cleaving, just dismantling, right? And then eventually that would happen. Rack up a bunch of, racking up a bunch of villain points, obviously, right? Then we would move on to, I'm gonna say, the upper deck, where we would have people like Nezu and all the other teachers just looking, right? And then look at this kid and be like, dang, who is this kid? He's pretty strong. And then they would say, oh, sorry, Aizawa would pull up a paper and be like, this is Izuku Midoriya, apparently. His quirk is telekinetic cutting, but it seems that after a tragic incident, he's gone through an awakening in a sense. It's a lot stronger than it was last time, and he seems to have a lot more control over it too, but still highly destructive. People look at this and be like, dang, he's strong. He's decimating like robots with like one touch. Actually, sometimes they don't even see him destroyed. They just see a slash and just cut through it, right through it. Now, this is when Armin would act about the, incident, right? And you get told about how the kid jumped off some roof, right? Immediately, Armin would think back to the conversation they had, and he would feel extremely bad, like the guilt would literally be eating him up, right? But nothing he can do now. He's gonna apologize to the kid after, right? When he starts UA. From the looks of it, because Izuku is currently #1 on the list, with like 150 hero points easy. Now, this is when we would then move on to, Nezu. Sorry, we then move back to the 0-pointer being summoned, right? Now, I'm going to say that him and Orochako were training that entire time, like he was training Ochako. But for obvious reasons, I'm still going to have her get stuck by the 0-pointer, because she has been training, but like anime characters in training, I'm going to make it slightly more realistic, and I'm going to say that she got stronger physically, but still rebel, thrown straight at your ankle, that you cannot see coming. Yeah, no. So anyway, she's still stuck under Rebel, like in canon. And this is when we'd have Izuku sort of like run up, and he would literally hear her like scream for help. Immediately he would speed blitz, get there, and he would just look up at the 0-pointer about to step on her. And he put his hand out and he would use cleave. But not just any cleave, he would use spiderweb, which is, essentially he would use cleave in a way that it's like in the shape of a spiderweb, right? And it would just cut the 0-pointer into like little cubes, and it would literally just fall down like harmlessly, right? Ochako would be surprised because she's seen Izuku do a lot of things, but nothing like this, right? This was like complete and utter decimation of the 0-pointer. But obviously that wouldn't matter to him. He would like throw off the Rebel, pick her up, and like literally princess carry her to recovery girl and be like, heal her. He wouldn't say please don't die. He'd just say heal her. But looking into his eyes, you could see like the sort of like sadness and like worry, right? So obviously, recovery girl would let us laughing the one time. She would heal up Ochako, and yeah, they both go home. They both get the others at the same time. I'm gonna say Ochako did pretty good. She obviously made it into class 1A. But then we'd have Izuku's letter, right? Izuku would be getting absolutely, praised. He did pretty good on like, the academic exam, getting like top 5. But then coming into the practical exam, he got 1, breaking All Might's record and doing phenomenal, getting like what 100. Sorry, I'm gonna say like 200 villain points and like 66 villain points, like a lot. Sorry, 200 villain points and 66 hero points, adding up to 266, #1 overall, and it welcomed him to His Hero Academia. Anyways, guys, that is it. Thank God I'm done this. I'm sorry, it's been so long since I've done like an actual like long what if. Like I'm speeding through it way too fast. I'm trying to slow down, but it's not really working. But yeah, I'm hoping you guys enjoyed this. It's been so nice recording a what if like this, getting back into the groove of it. Expect a few more videos, I'm guessing later next week. And yeah, love you guys. Stay cold, stay frosted. Peace.